Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the new flight simulator setup I have for my home. If you guys are like me, it's hard to find time and money to get to the airport to practice all the time. So I put a little bit of an investment into a home simulator setup. That way I can both practice and stay sharp on my skills instead of going to the airport every time I want to fly. So I did some shopping around and I finally settled on Honeycomb Aeronautical for my flight sim setup. The reason I decided to go with Honeycomb Aeronautical is because their stuff seemed to be well built. It seemed like it was going to last. I think a lot of the other ones looked kind of cheap and chintzy. So I kind of landed on this mostly because it looked professional and was going to give me the most bang for my buck. I also liked the realism look of it. It looks and kind of reminds me of flying in a regular plane. So I think for me, that'll be the best way to get my experience in and make sure, when I'm practicing how I intend to play, right? Like that's the whole point of doing this is to hone my skills and get better and not, go flying and be totally out of the loop because I haven't been practicing correctly. So we have here the Honeycomb Aeronautical Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie setup. And basically what that is the Alpha is a yoke and control, basically just your stick, The Bravo is a set of different controls like your throttle, your mixture, your prop, a ton of different switches. There are a few different radio things you can mess with, and there's even warning lights on here. So when you're flying, you'll get some warning lights that you can see on the dash and not on your flight simulator. That way you can kind of respond how you should, or it'll help simulate those experiences a little bit more than just a computer game would. The Charlie is rudder pedals, and these are fairly new. I think these came out most recently. The Alpha and Bravo had been out for a while, and now finally the Charlie rudder pedals. These are just rudder pedals with toe brakes, which is pretty cool because for me, that was the most difficult part of my first flight was just the rudder pedals and the toe brakes. They just felt so strange that I really wanted to make sure I got something realistic that I could use to kind of just hone my craft with these. So I'm really grateful that we have these. I think this is a really good setup. If you look at people who do flight sims, it is like a gateway drug. You buy one thing, then you buy another thing. Now you have a tablet holder. You've got 3 monitors. You got VR. It just seems like once you get a taste, you just start going right down the path of spending money. For me, this is more of an investment. I don't always have the time or the money to go to the airport and fly. So for me, I get to come here. I get to practice. I get to remember what I'm supposed to do. I think of different maneuvers. I think of different procedures I'm supposed to follow. And that way, when I do go and fly, it's not a total new experience. It's like, okay, this is what I've been practicing. Let's get to the airport, put it into play, and really get to it's more enjoyable experience when you know what you're doing, right? Like the first time you do it, it's kind of scary. You're overthinking. You're looking at every little detail, but when you kind of know what you're doing, you get to experience it more and have fun, which is what flying's all about. So let's talk setup. The Alpha, the Bravo, and the Charlie, these were so simple to set up that it really doesn't warrant a ton of explanation. But if you are considering buying this, you probably want to know what does it entail before you get home and you get home with the box, you don't know what to do. So for me, the setup was so simple. I didn't even use the instructions. Literally, it comes with like 4 different things. I'll start with Alpha first. Basically, the Alpha and the Bravo have the same exact setup. So essentially, you have a base plate. You have 2 C-clamp looking things that attach to the base clamp. And then you have the actual controller itself. So these 2 are simple. The base plate, it has like a grip on the bottom, which you can use by itself if you really wanted to. I think it peels off and it'll stick to a surface. So that's one option. The second option is to use the C-clamps, which is what I'm opting for because I think that makes sense with my setup. But you have that base plate and it has this what it looks like a kingpin on like a trailer, and it's basically like a tongue and groove system. So with the Alpha controller, once you have that base plate and the C clamps mounted to a desk, they literally just fit together like kind of like Lego pieces. It's pretty intuitive when you look at it. You just put those on there, and then you set the controller on, click it into place, and then there's two little adjustment screws at the back that you kind of tighten down. That way it's not wiggling all over the place. It puts that tension down there. So that's perfect. And then all you have to do is plug it in. It comes with a USB-C to A for the computer side. So you put the USB-C in the back of the controller, you put the A in the desktop tower, and then, or whatever you're using, and it's plug and play. It might light up immediately. You go into Microsoft Flight Simulator or X-Plane, this is recognized. It's not some foreign controller. It literally says like Honeycomb Alpha. So this is ready to roll. It's got everything you need to get going instantly. So we're gonna move on to the Bravo now. The Bravo literally has the same exact setup as the Alpha. The two C clamps, a base plate, tongue and groove system. You pop this on, you slide it lock it into place, and then you just tighten down these little screws at the end to put the tension. Boom, you're ready to go. Plug it in, you're in. So now we have our two main hand controllers. Yoke's important, throttle's important. Those are the big ones. So we'll get back to these later. I'm really going through setup. Now we have the Charlie rudder pedals. These were also very simple. It's a big piece, but there's no setup. Like you can literally just plug it in. It's ready to go. You can adjust it if you want, and that's so. There's a few different adjustments you can make. The three main ones that I've noticed were you can adjust the tension of how hard the pedals feel and respond. So I tighten that all the way down because I want it to feel like like the plane I flew, which is a Cessna 172. It felt pretty firm, so I wanted it to be just like that. The second adjustment is you can adjust the toe brakes to be just different position, more upward facing or more downward facing. So I just left those standard. They come with a little hex key that you can use to loosen up, and you can adjust them. So that's kind of cool. The final thing is you can, on the very bottom side, it comes with a flat bottom surface. There's four of them. There's four little surface holders, and it comes flat. Or you can flip it over, and it's got little spikes that kind of grip into your carpet. So that's what I did. All it takes is like a number 2 screwdriver, rip out the screws, flip the little plate over, put the screw back in, tighten it down, boom, you're good. Same thing with this. It does have a USB-C. And if you look at the reviews on like Sporty's, that was the biggest complaint, was the USB-C. Like if you put it against the wall, it doesn't mount flush perfectly against the wall. I've also noticed the USB-C is pretty cheap. So for me, I have like a little weird little cross member bar on my desk, which it fits right under. So it's like a non-issue for me. I did kind of jack up the USB-C accidentally by moving this. So that's on me, but I think, it's easily replaceable. It still works, but I should probably replace it before I'm in the middle of a flight. Another thing to look at is, when I'm pressing these pedals, it feels really good. However, there is still some movement on the carpet. It's not a lot, but I want it to be rock solid, personally. I guess it's manageable, but, for now, if it got worse, or if it starts tearing up my carpet, then I would probably make an effort. I honestly thought about just rigging up some kind of, little setup, like some plywood or something that I could mount it to and give it kind of a secure mounting situation. That way I don't have to worry about things moving. But that's my only real complaint with that. So let's get back to this. The great thing about this is the feel, right? That's the whole point of a simulator, is you need to chair fly. You need to remember what it's like to feel certain things. So the Alpha Yoke, it has a really nice, literally it takes effort to push this, and you might be able to even hear it where it's got these springs or something pushing. Same with pulling. The turning's not too bad, but when I went flying for the first time, that's what really caught me off guard was like the backward pressure on like the elevator and stuff was like, whoa, like it takes muscular effort to keep doing that. And if you had to do that for the whole flight, you'd be exhausted, but that's what trim wheels are for. So that's the Alpha. It does come with the magneto switches, which is cool. So you can, there's different failures. You can test them differently and all that stuff. So it's got the off, right, left, both magnetos and start. Some master electrical switches and avionics. You've got a bunch of different lighting, light switches here, so that's nice. And it's all backlit by a red LED, which I believe you can adjust the brightness on the back. There's a button you can just click. Over here we got the Bravo. This has a ton of switches. The main thing here is we have our 3 different levers, which are for our throttle, our propeller, and our mixture. So those are really nice. You can adjust the tension on the levers for how smoothly they operate. And so far they feel super good. So that's key. Trim wheels, great. We've got a nice trim wheel. We have landing gear with some lights associated with it. Looks like 7 different switches here. And again, these are all plug and play. So as soon as you plug it into Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is what I'm using, this is ready to go. It's recognized. It's already mapped. You don't have to do any mapping. So that's key. I mean, you can just literally I set this up. It took me more time to get this out of the box and packaging than actually like setting it up. That's how nice this is. And it was easy. I can just take this off. If I need my desk back, I can take this off, go set it over somewhere else, and then put it all back together really quickly. You have nice, there's a flap lever here, which is nice. All of this feels like flying, right? And that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to just feel good. Feel like you're doing what you're doing, so when you go fly, you can muscle memory, remember some of this stuff, or hone your skill. The Charlie rudder pedals, not much to them. There's rudder action, which they have a pretty far travel, but the resistance is really good. Like, it feels like a plane. So, that caught me off guard when I went to do it. I'm like, this feels so weird. Toe brakes, I can't remember if toe brakes have as much resistance or not, but the toe brakes feel really good. So, all in all, this is great. I tested out, I've flown a few hours, and I just sat here for hours, like, practicing landings just with these. So, I would highly recommend that everyone get a home flight sim setup. I mean, there's a lot cheaper options. I opted to go for a little bit higher end of one because, like I said, this is more of a tool. I'm not using this to play games. I don't even know if I'm going to use the simulator to go fly other planes. I want to practice Cessna Skyhawk 172 and just hone my craft. Make sure I'm doing the right thing in the right situation. Make sure, I'm following procedures correctly. I get a feel for the aircraft. So when I go fly, I'm ready to go. And maybe there'll be times where I do practice and then I do play where I'll go mess around with other planes and stuff. But, this is a tool. That's why I spend money on it. And that's how I justified it, is this is going to make me a better pilot. So, it's recommended. It's not like some fringe hobby. It's literally recommended by flight schools, flight instructors to have something like this. And I get it. Not everyone can have it. But, it's the cost of this for whatever I spent, $500-600. This trumps two, maybe 3 flights at a flight school. So this is unlimited practice. Now that I have this, I can do this all night long, all day long, practice. I can record stuff. I can see what I did wrong. Where, you go fly for $260. Well, that's great. But you can't really do as much practice as if you're like me, we can't just afford to go. So I'm taking years to get my private pilot's license. So I have years of this to just practice and remember things and stay sharp. Where, if you're going to go and just get your PPL in 3 weeks or a month, you probably don't even have time to mess with a simulator because you're just going to be flying every single day. But I'm an average guy, average money. We're just going to do it the old-fashioned way and do it as we go, and just enjoy it, have fun with it. And these Microsoft games are really good. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 has been out since 2020. 2024 is dropping in November, which is this month. But sometime this month they're going to come out with that, and it's going to be totally reimagined. So now I have a great setup here to play this new game with. So that'll be fun. But yeah, like I said, I hope you guys really enjoyed this. This is a really cool setup. I would highly recommend the Honeycomb Aeronautical Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie now that I have it. Like I said, the other ones literally just look like kids' toys. I'm sure they work, but I wanted something that looks real, looks professional, high quality, German engineered. Like it feels good. So thank you all for watching. I know this wasn't the most exciting video, but this is part of the journey on our way to getting our private pilot's license. Practice, practice, practice. The whole point of getting our private pilot's license is to go out and adventure, explore the world, but we need to stay sharp because every week there's a headline of some kind of plane crash, it seems. So I don't want to be a statistic on the NTSB. I want to stay on top of my stuff, learn from my mistakes. If I'm going to make a mistake, I want to make it right here so that when I go fly a real plane, I am just sharp as a tack. I can enjoy the experience and feel confident in my flying, because I think confidence is one of the most important skills to have when you're out flying. So hopefully you guys can do the same. I hope you guys start flying. This isn't a day one purchase, but get one when you can. I think it's important. But yeah, I'm going to definitely post some videos at some point of me flying this on flights, real time, so you guys get to see me in action. No edits, no cuts, where you're just watching how this kind of works in action. So thanks a lot. I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate you subscribing. And I hope to see you soon in the next video where we do some more craziness with this. So cheers.